Joining us now, Democratic Governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker. He's a member of the Biden-Harris Campaign National Advisory Board, and we've got a lot to talk to you about. I know you have an announcement to make about Think Big America. But first, as one of four Jewish governors, I want your thoughts on the moment, especially in Israel right now, where President Biden is standing alone with Israel in the midst of a hot war. And over the past 24 hours, a hospital in Gaza City blown up, and the origins of whatever missile or rocket that hit the hospital in question. Which is why the summit was canceled and why the president is there alone. I guess your thoughts on the ground as a governor about the concerns of anti-Semitism and also the situation that is roiling in the Middle East.
Well, uppermost in my mind this morning is the loss of the murder of Wadea Al-Fayyoumi, the 6-year-old Palestinian-American boy in Plainfield, Illinois, and his mother, Hanan, who is fighting for her life in the hospital. His father, and grandfather, who I was with at the funeral just 2 days ago. And I must say, of course, also on my mind are the captives, the kidnapped Illinoisans, in fact, Natalie and Judith Renan, who, after we've seen the terrible violence that was committed by Hamas, by terrorists against innocent Israelis, one can imagine what's happening to them in captivity. We pray for them as well as Wadea's family. So, look, here on the ground in Illinois, it's important to me that we keep security, peace, that people can have differences of political opinion, but that we don't carry out violence against one another here in the United States for having different political views. And let me add one other thing. The murderer who is in custody right now is somebody who, nobody knew would act this way, but somebody who carried extremist right-wing views. He's somebody that was known to be to carry ideas that are quite out of the mainstream and committed murder in the name of those ideas. And we just need to bring an end to this kind of activity, violence that comes to the fore in the politics of the United States.
All right. Thank you for that. And this morning, you are rolling out a new organization called Think Big America, which aims to champion abortion rights nationwide and counter far-right extremism on all fronts. The organization has already started working to help secure pro-choice ballot measures in states like Ohio, Nevada, and Arizona, similar to recent wins for abortion rights in Kansas and Wisconsin. Tell us more about this, especially in light of presidential politics and the fight for women's rights long term.
Well, over the last 4 years here in Illinois, we've secured women's reproductive rights over and over again. We've become an oasis for women all across the Midwest, indeed across the country, who seek to exercise those rights. And now we're simply taking this national, making sure that we're helping people in states across the United States. You mentioned Ohio, for example, where there will be a vote this November on a constitutional amendment. Nevada, where there's a process that takes 2 years. But that leads to a constitutional amendment protecting women's rights in Nevada. And we're going to have to do this state by state because of Dobbs, because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And that's why this is important. Beyond that, of course, this issue has really gone all the way down to the school board and library board level in states across the country where people are trying to ban books. People are trying to take away people's rights and work from the ground up. And so we've got to work on the ground against those forces of extremism as well.
Governor, you've been critical of the White House about its handling of the migrant situation throughout Illinois, but particularly in Chicago. How has this administration let you down? What more should they be doing?
We've been very clear for, well, almost a year now, since the beginning of the crisis, that here in Illinois, we're going to address the humanitarian crisis that is faced by these asylum seekers coming across the border when they arrive in Illinois. But the truth is that this problem originates at the border. There needs to be border security. There also needs to be comprehensive immigration reform. And so in addition to talking about those things directly with the White House for 9 months, I felt that there wasn't enough being done to try to find other places in the country. And remember, these folks are here legally, these asylum seekers. They're here to get a hearing and have a decision made about whether or not they can stay in the United States. In that time period, they shouldn't all be sent to New York and Chicago. We really do need the rest of the country to step up, and only the federal government can really do that. And so we've asked them to take charge at the border, to make sure they're not just dropping people off at Catholic charities where they're being influenced to send people to Chicago, to New York. And instead, they need to take charge and make it clear to the people who are at the border that getting on a bus to Chicago and New York in mid-October, heading into winter where it's going to be 20 degrees or 10 degrees, and where we just do not have enough shelter for everybody, that can be dangerous. And so we want to make sure that we're getting help from the rest of the country.
Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, thank you very much for coming on the show this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mika.